Hello and welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Corey. In today's episode, I'm going to be doing 2 furniture flips as part of my super budget-friendly entryway makeover. I really love how it turns out, and I'm going to show you what I did from beginning to end to make my entryway look new and fresh without spending a whole bunch of money. We even had a crazy disaster strike upon our house in the middle of doing this, which just helped me realize that it was even more important that I stick to a really tight budget on this makeover. And I know that there may be other people out there too that have a tight budget but want to do something new and fresh in their home. So I hope you enjoy it. In my last video, I asked you guys which room I should start with first as far as my home makeover goes, and the majority of you said to start with the entryway, and that made a lot of sense to me because the entryway is like the first thing people see in your home, so I wanted to start with that and make it to where that place was finished. It was also the smallest and kind of the easiest to do. A great place to start when it's the easiest thing to do. But this room had some serious issues with the tile. It's some kind of stone tile. If you know what kind it is, let me know. And it was missing some grout, and then it had these little hangers for curtains on the door that I needed to remove, and all the trim needed to be repainted. It was painted a very long time ago. It was a pretty color, but I just wanted it to be a little brighter white, and some of the trim was already painted bright white, so I figured I would just go ahead and finish that job for whoever started it. The first thing I'm going to do is the tile. I'm going to kind of work my way from the floor and then go up in this room instead of like you do when you're cleaning and you go from the top down. And the reason I'm doing that is because everything that's going to go in this room is going to go on top of the floor. So I need to get that floor done first. I got some unsanded grout because the grout lines are very small and sanded grout tends to be bigger and chunkier. So I got the unsanded kind because I wanted it to go down into those grooves. I just got pure white because I wanted it to look fresh and clean, and I just grouted right over top of the old grout and the missing grout. I put it on with a spoon and then went back with my trowel and picked up the extra and then used my sponge to clean the area.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow, and the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit.
The floor is drying right now, and I'm going to head out and get something that I need for this room. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to jinx myself that I won't find it, but if I find it, I'll be really excited. The first place I stopped was a Goodwill, and I've been testing out all the Goodwills nearby my house. If you didn't know, I just moved to Houston from Arizona, and so there's been a huge difference in how the Goodwills are here compared to how they were in Arizona, so the prices are a lot higher and the selection is a lot less for some reason. Don't know why. This Goodwill had kind of like a lot of cute things today, but it was not what I was looking for. What I was looking for was a little umbrella stand, you know, that looks like a big vase that you put your umbrellas in. I really wanted one of those, so I'm looking for one of those in all of these stores. I did find some really cute stuff. I have a painting in my cart right now that I ended up picking up. It's like a reproduction of a Monet painting. I really like the Impressionist style paintings. And look at all these cute lamps. Look, all you need to look at is the shapes. These shapes of these lamps could turn out to be something really beautiful in your house. So I always recommend you buy lamps secondhand and just give them a really nice paint job. Here's the painting that I picked up. It's not for my entryway, but I really loved it, so I had to grab it while I was here. The next place that I stopped was an estate sale. Now I'm going to give you guys a hack on how to find really good deals at estate sales. Go right when they're closing. A lot of times the big ticket items will still be there because they were so expensive that nobody bought them, and then those items end up at auctions. But if you go in and offer even like lowball prices, sometimes you could end up with those big ticket items for very cheap. Like, look at this. This thing is absolutely beautiful. They had it for $3.50. I probably could have offered anything at this point and they would have taken it. But I was afraid to buy any of these items because the house stunk like a cat box. I made it home just in time for a really awesome storm, and I got a clip of it for you guys. That is one thing so far in Houston that I love so much, is how amazing their storms are. But now I'm going to start working on the entryway stair rails that go upstairs. The handle area, like the handlebar that you hold on to as you go up, was really faded. I'm guessing because of those big windows here in the entryway, and so I just went over it with a poly shades. This is a stain and a clear coat together. It is oil based though, so it takes a very long time to dry. This thing took 3 days to dry, but it was worth it. It was so beautiful. It was bright and shiny after I just touched it up in almost the exact same color it was originally.
Say you'll go, don't make me wait. There's no need to hesitate. Let's make footprints in the sand. Let's make miracles. Come hold my hand. Let's find something new, me and you.
Now it's time to start on all of the trim while the handle rail is drying. Really, it's important to time your projects where you can get stuff done during the dry time of something else. And the trim was in good condition as far as like structurally. There was some yucky stuff on it and the walls needed to be cleaned, and this is really where I'm going to make my case on why I saved the wallpaper. But first, let me just tell you what paint I used. I used Clear paint, and I'm going to prime it first because the trim is really shiny and slippery, so I definitely needed to prime it because trim going over a shiny paint with another shiny paint won't stick. It will take tons of coats in order to get coverage, so I'm just going to work smarter and not harder and prime it first before I go over it with another shiny paint. And I'm just doing a bright white color. Clear paints are no VOC, which is why I love to use them. You actually can order them online too. I just really like them a lot, and I can paint with my kids around me, which you've seen them around me this entire time. But the wallpaper here, you guys, a lot of you told me that you didn't like the wallpaper. I should update the wallpaper, but it really reminds me of like vintage Laura Ashley bedding and decor, and I love Laura Ashley. If you don't know who Laura Ashley is, look up all her designs that she does. She does like really beautiful shabby chic stuff. And as you saw, I can just wipe it off with a Lysol wipe. This stuff is really durable. I don't know if it's like more of a fabric than an actual paper on the wallpaper. I don't know, but it is great quality. And so I'm really gonna keep it, I think. I debated covering it with another peel and stick wallpaper, but I just really like it. And I'm definitely painting the spindles white, as you probably can already tell. I just felt like all the wood there looked too outdated and very 70s, which, I mean, the 70s is cool and everything, but I just wanted it to be a little lighter and less heavy looking, so I'm keeping everything else wood. I just am going to prime and paint those spindles along with the trim.
Let's
Now that the priming is done and dried, I'm just going to go over it with the semi-gloss trim paint from Clear, and their trim paint is all the same color, so no confusion. You just pick out the trim paint and use that. It looks so beautiful.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away? Show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep every night, and what's it dreaming of? I wonder. How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's gray outside? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder.
Now the part of the video that I'm sure many of you were anticipating, that it's time to make over this beautiful armoire. Well, and since I'm doing it in a French theme, we'll say armoire. It was not antique, you guys. It looks antique from the front, from the sides, all around, but it's not. And I'll show you how I figured that out. It was kind of surprising to learn how it was really made. It was like a shop project. So you know, like when people have shop class in high school, they learn to make lots of different things. This seems like it was one of those, and I think you'll agree with me when I show you why. But it had a lot of water damage, like really huge warps in this paneling here in the door. So I'm going to try and cover it with a fabric to disguise that, because wood is really expensive right now and I don't want to have to replace it, and it's just kind of cool to have the original pieces in there that somebody built with their hands. The colors I am debating on using to paint it are the Dixie Belle French linen color and then Waverly's mineral. So I'm going to test those out first before I make any decisions about painting the piece. But here's that fabric that I'm going to use on the door panels. It looks really cool, has like really good texture to it, and it was dirt cheap at Walmart. I let the colors dry, and then I looked at them up against the wallpaper, and they both looked great, but I decided to go with the mineral color by Waverly because it was a little bit lighter and I felt like the French linen was just too heavy of a gray. Now it's time to show you how I figured out that this was a shop project. Look at all the different weird pieces of wood that were used to make this, and then the bottoms of the drawers are made out of paneling. like 70s, 80s wood paneling, not real wood. I don't even know what that stuff's made of. And then like some outdoor siding maybe, just definitely all scrap wood. Look at all these different pieces of paint on them, different types of wood, some beat up pieces like this. It's all scrap, and I thought that was so cool. And I'm doing this whole makeover on a budget, and the person who built it on a budget, and I just thought that was really cool. And it also made me feel better about painting it because it's not really an antique. I got it off of Facebook Marketplace. I thought it was antique when I bought it, but I got it for such a cheap price. I think I paid $20 or $40 for it back in Arizona, and then moved it with us when we came here to Texas. But great deal still, even though that it's not this antique thing that I thought it was, still a great deal. In order to put that fabric on these door panels, we need to take the doors off, and then my husband very carefully removed that door panel because it was so water damaged. It was very easily broken, since when wood gets water damaged, it expands and becomes kind of brittle, and that's what had happened to this piece. So he was really gentle in removing it, which was kind of hard actually, and a little bit frustrating, but he did a great job. And then I went back and put the fabric on after that. The reason that we chose this piece of furniture to go in our entryway is because our house has like no storage in it. It's an older house, and a long time ago people just didn't have as much stuff as we have now, and the entryway closet is actually under our stairs, and our dog kennels are in there as kind of their room because it's really big, and we have a big dog kennel for our pit bull mix that you see, and you saw my little 7-pound poodle mix there. But we needed a place to put our things, like our shoes and extra toys and dog things and just random things that would go in closets if we had any. So we're making a closet, and that's something that you guys could do at home, is find an armoire that's really shallow, and then you can put it in your entryway as an entryway closet if you don't have one. I used Gorilla Glue on this panel here, and then I just lightly pressed on the fabric. I didn't want to stretch it in any way because it has that weaving pattern in it. So I just patted it down softly, And something else that you could do, especially if the fabric's really wrinkled beforehand, is iron your fabric first. But this fabric, the wrinkles wouldn't come out, but then when you press it down on the wood, all those wrinkles came out at that point. So I wasn't too worried about the wrinkles that didn't come out when I ironed it. And then I made sure to glue down the edges on the side just so that it's stuck better, and when you open the door it'll look nicer on the inside. Although I did not refinish the inside of the armoire today in this video. I'll have to do that another time. I just ran out of time for that. You'll see why I ended up running out of time, because we had something crazy happen, and I'll show what happened at the end of the video. After the doors were back on, I decided that it definitely needed a second coat of paint, so here's a quick little clip of what that looked like. Now I'm going to use some random old handles that I had. I honestly cannot remember for the life of me where I got these handles. I don't know if maybe somebody sent them to me. I don't know if it's a friend gave them to me. I just cannot remember. I actually have like not very good short-term memory, and so a lot of times things like this I can't remember, and I'm working on that as best as I can. It's kind of like a hereditary thing. I have something called hemiplegic migraine, which is where you have kind of mini strokes, and then afterwards those cause like short-term memory loss. And I've actually gotten a lot better and been doing really well, but I got these so long ago, I think it was during a time where I wasn't remembering things very well. So if you sent these to me, I just want to say thank you so much. If you didn't, then oh well, I'm so glad I have them. But I'm going to paint them the same color as the armoire, and I'm just going to paint one half and then let it dry and then paint the other half. That way I can hold on to them and make the whole thing easier. I'm choosing to place these on an area where there was a really big bulge from that water damage, just to kind of disguise it. And it ended up being the perfect place to put them. It was kind of like that issue in the wood was pointing at where I needed to put these handles. It looked so good here instead of putting them on the frame of the door. And I think that that's something really unique I haven't really seen ever. I don't know if I have, but maybe you guys could try that. When you do cabinets, you can put it on the flat part of the cabinet instead of the door frame on these big armoires or a hutch or just a small cabinet, and it looks really nice, and it does a really good job of disguising that little bump in the wood there. Before I show the reveal of the last one, I'm going to finish all the projects and show the reveal of the entire room at once. And the next piece is this little hall tree. This was my grandmother's, and a lot of my childhood memories revolve around this thing. My grandma kept her keys in there, her lipstick, all her gum. She used to chew Trident gum, only the green one. And it had her hairbrush and my hairbrush in there because I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house. And this thing is actually fake wood, and it was missing a screw. The screws are kind of a little stripped, And since it is fake wood, I am not going to mess around and take any of these screws out, because fake wood, when you take a screw out and then try and screw it back in, it ends up being like really stripped. And so I'm going to leave all those things in when I do this project. And you can see some water damage here on the edge. Just the whole thing is not looking so hot. It's pretty old too. I think it's older than me. And it has a big water ring on the bottom, and it just needs a facelift in a way where you're not going to see the original texture of it, I guess. So I'm going to go over the entire thing in wood filler and create a stone look. This I have never seen done, I don't think, other than on like lamps or like little vases and stuff. And I thought it would be a really cool thing to try out on a piece of furniture. I'm sure somebody has done it. There's really no original ideas at this point anymore, but I've never personally seen it. So I'm winging it. I'm just going to do my best to create a stone texture, and it turned out to be really, really easy and a really cheap, budget-friendly way to fix up MDF or fake wood furniture. And you'll see how I do it. It really doesn't take much explanation at all. You just like scrape it on and move the trowel around in different ways to create a texture with that wood filler. Now that it is thoroughly dried, I'm going to go over it with a sanding sponge and a piece of sandpaper. The grit I was using was 60 grit, and it was just what I had on hand. I liked that it was one of those rougher grits though, because it sanded it really quickly. And this wood filler, even though it was like a cheap Ace brand, did a really good job and was really easy to sand. So I got all of the sanding done in less than like 5 minutes. I used the same paint that I used to paint my trim. I didn't use a primer this time. I just went ahead with the trim paint and painted the whole thing. And it looked really nice. I love how it went along with all of the trim in the room, so it looks like it was made for that room. A little trick that I did to make those spindles have a texture to them like the rest of the piece was I used the tips of the brush and kind of patted the tips of the brush onto the spindles to create texture with the paint. And then I went in with a small, more finer brush to do all of the edges of the spots that I couldn't get with that larger brush. Like I said, I really didn't want to take these off because I'm afraid that if I do, they're not going to be able to be screwed back on strong ever again, because this is like an MDF fake wood piece. So if I unscrew those screws and then try and screw them back in, they're going to be really loose. So I just went in with this little fine brush and hand painted around them. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I hate using paint tape, so I just go back with a razor blade and take the extra paint off of the mirrors or windows or glass that I'm doing on my projects. But now it has come time to show you the big, huge interruption in our house that happened. We had a flood upstairs. So one of our sinks is hooked up to our air conditioning condensation line, and it filled up with algae somehow, I guess from the heat here in Houston, and backed it up over the sink and into my son's room, and then from my son's room down into our den or family room, and it destroyed the sheetrock and cost a fortune to fix. And our house was under construction for a while, I would say about a week, before they could really fix everything. And at that same time, we decided to schedule getting our repipe done on our house. As you saw from that big hole in the ceiling, we had galvanized pipes. We already knew this moving in, so we knew that this part was coming, and we got it all done at the same time. And the house was a disaster. It was really stressful, and so I put off finishing that entryway until this was all done. And you'll see that after it was all done, I decided, you know what, I'm going to decorate for fall. Even if it's early, I don't care. I just needed a pick-me-up after this big construction mess that was in our house. See all those galvanized pipes? Ugh, they were filled with rust and lead, and it was something that really stressed me out, showering my kids in water that had lead in it. So glad that's over. But it's time to reveal to you the entryway and how awesome it looks, and all of the amazing fall decorations that I did, budget-friendly ones, and I'll share with you how I did it and where I got things from, as well as show you the finished products of all the DIYs that you saw me do. Here is the finished armoire in all her glory. It looks beautiful. It is French inspired. I decorated it with two small, very affordable wreaths from Hobby Lobby, and then hung those with a super cheap clearance find orange ribbon. This black tree I got off of Facebook Marketplace used, and I created a beautiful little, it's like tree skirt out of $2 fabric from Walmart that I cut into a circle, and then I put the tree just on top of a little stool that I also got for dirt cheap. I think I got that as part of an auction a long time ago. I probably spent like $2 on that stool. And then I got this happy haunting sign from Ross for really cheap, less than $20. The little picks and things and ribbons on the tree are from Dollar Tree and Hobby Lobby. This garland is from, I believe, the At Home store, and it was like $8.99 for each strand. And my kids made the bats and put them on the wall. They hung the spooky sign. Yes, I know it is backwards, but they hung it, so it's special to me that they put that up with their own hands and are proud of their work, and so we're going to leave it backwards. But look at this entryway. Now my grandmother's hall tree is here, shining brightly. She loved nautical and beachy themed decor, and I feel like this really did her style justice, and it still makes me think of her, and I can practically smell the Trident gum when I look at it. And I picked up that little topiary, I don't know, basket of topiaries from a little store that is nearby my house. I bought it secondhand, and added fall leaves to it. That basket has all my dog leashes and things in it. I just added pumpkins to it. But look at how great my tile turned out with the grout. The whole room looks fresh, like it can breathe again. Eventually I'll get to painting the trim up the stairs along that back wall there. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy that there is one finished space in our house. We are no longer under construction. And if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and put a thumbs up on this video. And I'm so excited because my next video is the Ugly Duckling Challenge. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a really dramatic transformation along with tons of other people participating. Thanks for watching. Bye.